We're recording.
Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Do the roll call, please.
Kate Bargo,
Yes, here.
Dan Delahunt,
Here.
John Fike,
Here.
Blake Harris, Greg Peugeot,
Here.
William Siemens.
Here.
We have a quorum. Do we want to excuse Blake since he's called?
Yeah, he let us know.
Do we need a motion? Okay, we have a motion to excuse him.
Second.
I see a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we had the minutes from September 18th, 1925 meeting. Has everybody had a chance to go through them? Any changes, questions?
No changes, no questions.
Is there any motion to approve?
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes from the September 18, 2025 meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. This is an adjudication hearing. It's considered two issues. Since it's adjudication hearing, you need to be, all you people out there need to be sworn in. So if you'd raise your right hand. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
You are sworn in. Okay, the first item is an application submitted by Fox Architecture Design LLC on behalf of Holland?
Pollant.
Okay, Polland Composites USA, formerly it owns, or excuse me, a property it owns at 1319 First Street for a variance to construct a main building in the front yard setback of 5 feet where the section 1137.08 requires a minimum front yard setback of 30 feet. You have the staff's comments. Is there anything additional?
Just a couple of things. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As we can see on this slide, left-hand side, this property, technically it's 3 properties, which is fine. They intend to combine all of them, but it's zoned CR, Commercial Recreation District. Right-hand side, you can see a zoomed-out view. This is pretty close to the Sandusky Bay on First Street. Moving on. Here are some elevations. On the top left is taken from First Street. Red outline shows the property in question. Most recently, this building was the Beer Bait and More location. It was also, as I understand, the old East Side restaurant, right? So moving on to the bottom right, we can see the eastern elevation. And then top left, northern elevation, and bottom right, facing southwest. And this is just really for this board's sake, for fun, the general area of the proposed Sandusky Bay pathway, just for your reference. In all caps, preliminary, not final. Okay, bottom left, same thing moving on the western elevation facing east, and then, or top, at any rate, yeah. So we're continuing along showing the pathway's location. As it sits right now, this building is around 4 feet from the right-of-way line, the front property line. What's being proposed and was requested was about 5 feet. So the whole scope of work is to demolish the existing building, which is in serious disrepair structurally speaking, and then construct a new 3,240 square foot office building with the long side instead fronting on First Street, 5 feet setback behind the front lot line, and then modifying the existing parking lot to accommodate the new building. New building actually has a smaller footprint than the existing structure. The setback request, the applicant has been working for some time with our city's Public Works Department on the location of this building relative to the proposed pathway, and so this variance request comes informed by all of their discussions with our staff. Here are some proposed elevations. On the top, this is what it would look like facing First Street, and then on the opposite side facing the parking lot, and then a couple side elevations. So staff analysis, the owner did obtain site plan approval from our City Planning Commission for this site at their 9/24/2025 meeting. That was conditioned on subsequent variance approval for the reduced setback. The new layout of the property will reduce the number of curb cuts from 3 down to 1, making on-site traffic circulation safer and reducing potential congestion on First Street. Just for reference, the proposed variance would permit the office building to be constructed 5 feet from, again, the front lot line, and right on the other side of that would be public right-of-way, presumably the pathway. So the reduced setback would still be aligned with the intent of the commercial zoning district, and all of their zoning code requirements would be met by this proposed building. Therefore, staff recommends approval with the following condition. 1, all applicable permits are obtained through the building department, engineering department, and any other applicable agency prior to construction. Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak in favor of this request? If so, if you'd come to the podium, give us your name and an address.
Good evening, everybody. Joshua Fox, architect, 1717 East Perkins Ave. Here's a representative for the owner, along with AV Lake. Adam, thanks for the presentation on all the information with this property. The goal for this property is the owner is now Pollant, which is the facility directly behind this area. They're going to be putting their headquarter offices for this area in this new office building. The goal was to, originally we evaluated the existing East Side Cafe building, tried to see if we could get the offices put into there. We had a asbestos abatement done at the time, structural analysis done at the time, and just come to the conclusion that it's pretty dilapidated on the interior. And it doesn't really function with the way they are in their offices layout, so we're trying to push everything into this space that we just weren't able to get to work out. So this will be the offices for the space. So some of the offices that are at the existing facility are going to come out to this building. So all the employees will check in. There's going to be maintenance offices, conference rooms, bathrooms, and a locker room basically in this area. So everybody will come in and check in this location, then go and work at the facility. With the next project on the next list, we're going to be utilizing that space. So we're kind of swapping facilities here and trying to utilize this front area. We did incorporate the pathway. We kept everything off of there. We would love to be at the front, you know, where the existing building is today, but we're push it back a little bit farther. So that's the reason for the 5-foot setback request. We can't go back too much farther because we got the existing parking lot and there's an existing drive that we're trying to maintain in that facility. So that's the reason for that. We probably got another foot, maybe, I think, that we could probably accommodate, but the closer to the road to align up with everything else is our goal with the facility. Other than that, that's all I had. If any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Okay. Are you going to speak on this one or just the next?
Either one, we'll both be on the same one.
Okay. Did you want to speak?
I really, Josh had.
Oh.
Okay. You don't have to. Okay. Not seeing anybody else unless you're going to talk. Okay. Questions from the board?
I guess my question is more for staff. The only building besides whatever we're going to call it, the East Side building, that is that close to the sidewalk is the building immediately west of the drive, that stone building. Then all the other residences are set back further than that. I didn't know if that was taken into consideration by staff, and that was,
Right.
but there's only one building that's that close.
5 or 6.
They're not as close to they are not, there's a front lawn on those other buildings.
I thought there were more than
There's
50.
just that one stone building that's immediately west of the drive that is almost on the sidewalk. East side setback slightly more than that. And then all the other residential buildings to the west of that are set maybe 10 feet. What, did staff take that into consideration?
Yes, residential, I mean, this is sort of a mixed-use block. We're in an industrial subsection of this block of First Street. And in terms of the industrial feel and look, especially given the elevations proposed from a site planning perspective, that was considered and deemed to be appropriate in terms of how it matches up with that, like you're mentioning, existing street edge. It's still orderly and aesthetically appealing.
My concerns let me ask one question first. It says here that the zoning on the west side is commercial, recreational, and residential business. Is there, that's what your
The staff
cover page
report.
says.
Thanks. On the west, RB residential business. That's very on the, you can see on this slide, Mr. Chairman, toward the bottom left. Realistically, I mean, I could have interpreted that question, I guess, in this report to mean immediately adjacent, but I think of like the general block, what's visible in a screenshot of this. So if you can you see that light brown on this slide right now, toward the bottom left of that left image?
Right above the word legend.
Thanks.
That's way over?
Yeah.
I'm just talking, to me, my question is immediately to the west, what's the zone?
Commercial recreation.
Okay, not business or residential.
Correct.
Okay, that threw me.
Sorry.
That's
I'll take that under advisement.
All right, my concerns are, the East Side Cafe building is about, what, 20-some feet wide? This
Thereabout.
new building is about 3 times wider than that, tight to the sidewalk or real close. To me, that's too big of a mass. I know when Hody's built their boat building, which would be the next one down, you know, they stayed 30 feet back because it's a huge mass that would have been right on the street. They wanted to be on the street because it gives them more boats, but they stayed back to 30 feet. I think somehow or other, we've got to be further off the street than 5 feet. I can't support 5 feet.
I think it's important to consider that property, while I wasn't here at that time, I can imagine that property had there was a lot more property to play with.
Yeah.
This is a much smaller situation, and we're much more intimately situated, so to speak, and we have an existing parking lot, like Mr. Fox mentioned, that because of the minimum drive aisle widths, they don't want to go too far back because then they are so think about it, if we zoom out, they're eliminating a couple entrances to try to make it safer and salvage most of the existing parking lot, restripe, modify layout, et cetera, which was taken care of and approved. But that wouldn't really aid that effort, moving it further, even further back, too much further back.
Well, they're only required 9 parking places, and they're supplying 17, and what the number is. So if they move it back and they lose 2 parking places, they still have more parking than what's required.
What was approved was what was more than required, that's correct.
I'm just saying is if the building was moved back, they still meet the requirements of having enough parking.
In terms of the number of spaces, I would have to look at the driveway widths. As you can see, this is kind of a weird shaped sublot here. It's not like we have a completely blank canvas for them to play with. I think that should be taken into consideration.
There's fence back there
Yeah,
across, right?
if I can answer to or jump in, but yeah, so the reason that we're not pushing it back any farther is basically we're taking the same square footage footprint of the building, we're just turning it sideways onto First Street. There's a main power line that's in the property that's not allowing us to push it back any farther, so if we push it back farther, it cuts off our driveway coming in off of our Pollant driveway. So with this plan, we're basically eliminating 2 driveways coming off of First Street, so we're trying to make it safer in that respect. And of course, if you look directly across the street, Luco's structure is hundreds of feet long and it's 25 feet tall. So being up against the street, I think we're going to try to make it a little bit more landscaped area and try to make it a little bit more friendly to the area compared to what was there. But we do have some constraints with the power line and stuff that's cutting through that property, and it kind of guts through on an angle and cuts through to the RV park and Hody's properties up to the kind of the northwest of that area. So the intent was basically just to take that same square footage and rotate it so that we could maintain as much of the property as possible. but still keep landscaping at the front area.
This one?
But if you move back 10 feet, you lose basically one parking place.
Well, if I move back 10 feet, I lose, there's a power line, there's a major power pole in that island on the north side of the driveway, that's kind of like a little island on there. It would shorten my driveway up to like 15 feet maybe coming in there. So it wouldn't be a dual access drive.
Northeast corner of that,
Right.
of the old building.
Mr. Chairman, would it be helpful if the applicant's representative pointed it out on this site plan?
I can see it on the site plan.
Okay, I wasn't certain.
There's a line that says it's overhead, and see where it is.
Okay.
Yes, we have a couple of constraints there, but our main goal is to basically get rid of the two drives. I think, I agree, we're okay, I think we can move it back a little bit. I don't think I can get that much. I think we can go a couple feet, to get a nicer landscape in that area. But the goal was try to keep the streetscape to kind of blend in with the lower houses and the commercial buildings down to the west in that case.
I think it's a good project, but any footage you could get it back away from it. I'm also looking at the Bayfront corridor, the bikeway. Otherwise, it's right on the street, and I don't think that's a safety plus way to engineer it.
Yeah, so we're trying to accommodate the city's pathway coming through here, so that's why it's being turned in that direction. So we're losing a lot of landscape that we can use and square footage that we could use in that space. So that's the reason it's kind of pushed to the east a little bit more as well. But the path that we have shown here is what they provided us at the time of the creation for the pathway. So we're kind of fighting a knuckle here for the pathway and the sidewalks and trying to keep everybody off of their property as well.
Right.
How much further can you push it back?
I don't have an exact dimension, but I could get you close. I got a 30-foot driveway that's my limitation, so if they would allow us, we could possibly go back another 4 feet. That would give me a 26-foot driveway. That would still act as a dual acting drive off of our main drive, because we got to keep a dual acting drive for that area, because it's the only way in and out of that property.
Personally, I think that would be a really good compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just open up the north
'Cause
side of First Street for the pathway and to get you a little bit more in line with the other buildings, other than the one that's immediately west of you. It's the only one that's really right on the
Yeah.
sidewalk.
Yeah, so in our site plan, it's hard to see, but there's a number 9 there. We'd basically be losing one more space, by shifting that to the north. I think the owner would be willing to do that, but we got to maintain a minimum of 25 feet for that
Right.
driveway to be dual acting.
Understood.
Yeah.
So if you could go back 5 feet,
Said 4.
It's not ideal for us. No, we'd love the 5 feet, we're requesting, but we're open to, to work with you
you
guys.
said.
Yeah, I think he's saying 9
The
total.
existing
Yeah.
driveway
To go to
is
9.
30, and you said you need 25 to go in and out.
Yeah, so if I lose, I can't go any more than 4 more feet, because then I would lose into the driveway space more than what would be required for the zoning requirements. So if we can go 9 feet, a total of 9 feet,
Okay.
we could accept
Existing
that.
drive says it's 30, that's what's there.
That's correct.
So you could go down to 25,
Yes.
so you could move 5 feet further back.
Yeah, possibly could. I'm trying to say 4 feet because I'm only going to lose one parking spot instead of
Yeah.
adjusting another parking spot.
I think that's.
We're trying to maintain as many spots as possible because they have about 25 employees that work here. So we know we're over the limitation of the building requirements, but we want to maintain their staff requirements as well. So it's possible that I could shift that last spot to the north a little bit more, but then it chops up my driveway where it comes into the triangular space.
What type of vehicles do you have coming in and out of there? Is that your driveway that's going to go back to the other part of the property as well?
This facility is only employees
Okay.
and cars and trucks.
Okay.
Yep, no semis.
It's not the trucks coming in
UPS
now.
truck.
That's what I was worried about.
Yeah, maybe a UPS truck or something like that is probably the biggest vehicle that'll
Okay.
go through there. Yeah. All the main traffic for the trucking and stuff going to the facility is down the main drive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be in favor if we could punch out that other 4 feet, make it a total of 9. I'd be fine with something like that. I think it's, the entire block's a mismatch, all along that block. So I'm happy that something's getting done with that building.
Right.
Yeah.
Looks like a good project.
Yeah, the owners are excited. They're trying to do both projects, as we'll talk on the next one too, but they're not planning on going anywhere. Their comment to us is we're here forever, and they've been there for a long time already, so they're pretty set to stay.
Is that a motion?
Any other
Well, I'll make a
questions?
motion then, if you're willing to do the extra 4 feet and make it a total of 9, do I have that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd be in favor of the variance.
I would second that.
We have a motion and a second. Would you include all the other requirements for building
And
permits?
all the other good requirements.
Yep.
Provided by the city there.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
William Siemens,
Yes.
Greg Peugeot,
Yes.
Dan Delahunt,
Yes?
John Fike,
I vote no.
Kate Fargo.
Yes.
That variance is, she's allowed to vote.
That was
That
fancy.
variance is approved.
How'd that feel?
Okay, the next item is an application submitted by Fox Architectural Design on behalf of PCCR USA. It's basically the same company, Joshua?
Yes.
For property it owns at 1321 First Street for a variance to construct a main building which will expand the existing non-conforming use, whereas section 1151.02B requires that the existing non-conforming uses not be expanded. Staff's requirements or anything additional?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This property is also zoned CR Commercial Recreation, which is the reason why we're here. As far back as staff could find, this property, most of the buildings were constructed in 1930, or in that decade, and as far as we could tell, it's always been occupied by a manufacturing or storage use or in combination. For whatever reason, the zoning just doesn't quite match up with what's technically allowed in a commercial recreation district today, although, like I said, it's been operating there for decades on decades, almost 100 years, as far as we can tell. PCCR USA is just the parent company of Pollen. It is the same owner. This is a picture of the southern elevation of the property. You can see on the left is the main manufacturing building. There's some warehousing in there. And then on the right-hand side, the side closest to us of that building, which we'll see from a top-down perspective shortly, is where their current offices are, which are being moved to the other site we just looked at. And then besides that are other existing warehousing. What Pollen makes is a resin-based product that's it's used for fiberglass and with boats is one application, and there's a few others. Onto the site plan, though, we can see this building, the scope of work here is to construct a new non-combustible 3,828 square foot storage building. They would use this building to store manufacturing process materials on skids after delivery, which will then be transported to the main building for processing in conjunction with the existing manufacturing and storage uses on the site. Here's a proposed floor plan on the top left here. We can see five bays. The entire footprint is dedicated, or floor plan rather, is dedicated to storage. On the bottom right, we can see some proposed elevations and downlighting. That elevation is from if you were to drive in there and then look to the right, so that's technically the western elevation, but it's the front. Staff analysis, the owner obtained site plan approval for this site at the 9/24/2025 Planning Commission meeting, conditioned on subsequent variance approval. 2, the majority of the existing buildings on this site were constructed in 1930, which we've gone over. These land uses do not appear to have disturbed adjacent properties. To the contrary, staff did receive a letter of support from an adjacent business and property owner, John Hody, to the east of the site. The proposed variance would allow this building to continue to grow or expand in place, which is very desirable from a planning perspective. 4, this would allow the facility to expand while still upholding the intent of the planning and zoning code at large. And lastly, all other zoning code requirements would be met by the proposed warehouse building. Staff recommends approval with the following condition. 1, all applicable permits are obtained through the building department, engineering department, and any other applicable agency prior to construction. Thank you.
Okay, is anyone in the audience wish to speak in favor of this request?
Everybody, Joshua Fox, architect, 1717 East Perkins Ave. The architect for the project along with AV Lake. Thanks, guys, again. Thanks, Adam. This one's fairly simple. It's just a zoning item because it's zone commercial recreational. We're abiding by all the setbacks, height requirements, fire ratings, all sorts of things required for the building. It is just used for their facility, so they do not have to keep transporting materials from Norwalk to Sandusky. So they're trying to consolidate and bring everything back to Sandusky so they have a full facility and it can go in and out of their manufacturing facility. Other than that, it was just a zoning update.
Okay, is anyone, board will have any questions?
No.
Motion is in order.
I would move to approve this variance as presented and requiring all applicable permits to be obtained.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the roll, please.
Kate Fargo,
Yes.
John Fike,
Yes.
Dan Delahunt,
Yes.
William Siemens,
Yes.
Greg Peugeot.
Yes.
The variance is approved.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Appreciate your time. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
The next meeting is November 20.
So that's got to be the.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment before we adjourn?
Is it?
I'm not ready to adjourn.
Wasn't that was what there?
Okay.
But you can make a comment.
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Hey, Josh, was that the
Anything
old
on the
American
agenda?
Colors
Not yet.
property back there? Wasn't that the old American
Not yet.
Colors?
Not yet?
I know, not yet.
Okay, they were, okay. All right, that's what I thought.
Yeah, they merged, I think, and changed company names and that kind of.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Anyway, lost my train of thought. I hope to move in the next 3 weeks, if that guy lets me. So I'll be ineligible to be a member of the board, so
Once you move into your office, your boathouse.
Yep.
my mail goes to my office. I'm not taking mail from Marshall Ave. So I don't know what legal residence is, but,
Where you live.
pardon?
It's where you live.
Okay, well, I'm going to be living in Perkins Township, so you will need at least one person, and you may need two before November 20th, if election goes correctly.
Thank you for letting us know.
Just let you know.
Thank you.
We could have two liaisons.
Thanks for your service.
Well, at least on
Thanks for your
November.
time on this
You
board,
too,
John,
Jason.
and all your service to the city. You're
Yep.
going to be missed.
Sure will, John.
Well,
Okay.
my
Thank
office
you.
isn't moving,
Good.
so. That being said, a motion to adjourn is in order.
Comment first.
One comment.
In regard to 2216 Mylan Road, I was somewhat disappointed that the city commission okayed that development of the Sandusky Senior Lofts. I felt that going from 85 units to 100 units wasn't bad, but I thought the expansion to with 32 more units, going from 85 to 132, an increase of 55% was overbearing, and I thought it felt to me like a bait and switch from a developer, which I've seen many developers do over time, and therefore, I didn't think when it was said that, when their comment said that our vote was capricious and arbitrary, I took affront to that because I didn't arbitrarily make a motion to deny that because I felt because it was my feeling about it. I still feel strongly that that location is not a good location for that. There's plenty of other spots in this city would have a lot better access and egress without directing a lot of traffic down a narrow, already fairly heavily used residential street. And I'm pretty disappointed in the whole deal. And that's all I have to say.
Okay, I'm going to echo your comments because we're the two people that voted in the negative. I felt really strong that, because I've talked to all those people on 42nd Street back when the school was expanding. And it was a bad situation then. It's just going to be worse. This is not improving it. Number two is sticking a 5-story building out in the middle of this residential area. I think it's going to be an eyesore to me. I don't care what the building looks like. It doesn't fit. I am disappointed that the city didn't at least attempt to fight it. You know, if you go and represent yourself, us at court and they turn you down, then you do. But at least we've made the attempt. My personal feeling is that I think the city looked at it and just said, here's a big a couple $1 million project that we're going to get. If we don't do this, it's going to either fall apart because it's not going anywhere else, so let's just let it go. So that being said, motion to adjourn is still in order.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay, we have motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
And maybe a vacation next.